in your house, just doing your everyday thing. All of a sudden, your dogs that you have to keep you safe start barking hysterically, barking wildly, manic, getting set off, and all of a sudden, they're silent. That discrepancy, eerily, the hairs on the back of your neck. Suddenly, you're scratching on your pillow. A minute later, you hear something in your roof. The terror. The absolute anxiety and horror, because you don't know what's out there. This is the start of many tales about skinwalkers. The Anaboshi. The Navajo people, as a lot of people know us, but as the Dene, as I'll refer to that tribe as. The Dene have this long-standing legend. Is it legend? Is it fact? Is it myth? Nobody really knows. Today I'm going to introduce some stories about skinwalkers. Some stories about this semi-supernatural boogeyman of the Southwest. And the maybe real origins of them. Skinwalker. If you're not from the Southwest, you've heard of this. Who's never heard of a skinwalker? Two, three, four. Two people. Basic idea, the myth behind the skinwalker, at least the modern interpretation of it, is somebody who can shapeshift, turn into a semi-werewolf creature that lopes along and moves in a very unnatural way. Perhaps impersonating different animals. Mimicking and all of a sudden standing up into a more humanoid form. Killing people. Massacring them. Running across the road late at night. Maybe running next to a vehicle that's going 75 miles an hour down the highway. This eerie, supernatural, powerful entity. The ghost hunters, the Bigfoot hunters, these people that on YouTube are trying to make a buck, or maybe make some entertainment, or search out mysteries. There's a huge rabbit hole you can get down. Thousands of videos on skinwalkers. Is it just like Bigfoot? Is it just our imaginations going, oh, maybe there's some other creature out there that's different that we've never seen, or rarely seen? Or is it more grounded in fact? I went down the rabbit hole because as a kid, I heard these stories, and it creeped me the heck out. Just around the campfire. But with it, there seemed to be more truth than most religions. There seemed to be more truth than most other stuff for me. And it rang different. The idea behind skinwalkers comes from the shamanic traditions of the Dene people. You have these individuals that were very experienced trackers, hunters, in a very rough environment. If anybody hasn't been to northwestern New Mexico, northeastern Arizona, southern Utah, or southwestern Colorado, that is a dry, desolate, hard environment to survive. You are struggling, you are on the edge of starvation and death from dehydration or sunstroke or a million other potential ailments in a hurry. You're living on the edge. And you had this vibrant, amazing culture that has been there for potentially hundreds of thousands of years. You had these people that have been around forever. And you had these origin stories and these oral traditions that go back hundreds of generations. It's amazing. And some of the stories are about the other in their society. Folks that have turned and have turned to evil. Now, from a modern perspective, what do we do with folks that have PTSD, are criminally insane, murderers, serial killers, folks that have gone outside of any potential societal norm and have cracked and have made their own way? They become villains. They become evil. They become this other individual that people are scared of, and rightly so in a lot of cases. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer, what a horrific individual. Skinwalker myth kind of fits along that track. One of the origins for it is when Kit Carson, the U.S. military, came out, General Carson, and he was rounding up the different tribal members. He was pitting the Ute Nation against the Dene Nation. What colonizers have done for years. Go and give a little bit more bribery to one people and have them destroy another. Committing acts of genocide. Just horrific elements there. And as Kit Carson is rounding up these people that have been on their lands for thousands and thousands of years, saying, no, it's ours now because you signed this treaty at gunpoint. The Dene elders got together and they had a ceremony. And in that ceremony, according to the story, Coyote went into the tent. And they made kind of a hogan out of just willow branches or other debris. And they were kind of doing this in a private way, trying to discuss what their options were. And this coyote came in and snuck in the tent. They figured and attached, there's multiple legends around this, but they attached a bead or a chunk of turquoise to this coyote. And the coyote took off. And the coyote went west, back towards their homeland. And so they, at gunpoint, resisted. And went, no, you're not going to Oklahoma. You're not being forced over there. We're going back to our lands. And the U.S. military begrudgingly let it happen. Because they didn't want to try to quell the rebellion that would happen with it. Many of the individuals in that tradition of being able to put on animal hides as camouflage, to be able to sneak up on other game, to sneak up on other people, and basically do guerrilla warfare. They were in that tribe. They were in that time when you had this colonial nation come down and create complete havoc and disrupt society and completely upheave it. And massacres happened left and right. And they twisted. They snapped mentally. And they got out of the norm. And in the complete Anglos idea, could somebody just blend into the environment and shift away? That created this myth in a lot of people's eyes. And that's one of the origins from the Dene historians, that may have been the turning point. But it may go back a lot further. That the people that are outside of their society, that didn't fit in anymore, that did these outrageous crimes, they were ostracized forever. Now, if somebody's ostracized in this desolate, hardcore environment, what would you do to survive? What lengths would you go to? What depravity would you do to survive in that space? These people may have done it. One of the legends is to become a skinwalker, to kill an immediate family member. Go through these traditions, to go through this ceremony, embracing your evil self, and then you're out of it all. It's creepy. It's sad. And it's horrific. But as for a ghost story, a legend, other type of entity out there, it makes a lot more sense than most things I've heard of. And I think that makes it all the more terrifying. So I challenge you and encourage you, when we are othering people, what lengths, if they are outcast from society, could people potentially go to? And by doing this, are we creating the scale? Shake that off for a minute, so I'm a little deep and intense. Please take a minute. If you can provide me some feedback, I'd appreciate it. And we'll shift into our next portion. feedback section. Let's get some humor. Been a little dark. Memorializing a friend and going through that grief and then talking about some of the most atrocious things in society. Because I'm welcome to the
Fuck, you can't say that. This is a trifecta of inconsistency. First off, what did one ocean say to the other ocean?
What?
They can't talk, they just wave.
Oh. Get the hook, John, bring the hook.
Speaking of desolate country where the buffalo used to roam, they were herd mentality. They were family. They would protect their young. When the younger buffalo would grow up, what did the daddy, the father that created that buffalo, what would he say when he would take off to get his own following?
Bye, son.
Bye, son. Very good. Yeah. Everybody knows knock-knock jokes, and they're the stupidest things in the world to go, and it's kind of special. So, who wants to participate in the knock-knock joke? All right. You start it. Who's there?
Jason.
Jason, who?
Jason Robbins.
Good comeback. You know what? Just
There you go.
cut my legs up from under me.
Now shifting into the feedback section, the time where we can grow. And I encourage you to learn from each evaluator because they're trying to give feedback to that individual that gave the speech. But we can all learn from what that individual did and the lessons that the evaluator is trying to provide. So please help me welcome Elton Benson.